Hello party people, I am your graphics rogue and this is my first YouTube video. I'm going to be playing an online match in the game Total War Rome 2. I am a massive Total War fan. I've been a massive Total War fan for years. Never been that great of an online player, but I'm looking to change that with this online battle series. I'm looking to improve myself and hopefully convey some tips to other players who are looking to improve their skills in the battlefields of ancient Rome as well. And let's face it, it's just plain fun and I want to get some video of me chopping up some barbarian limbs. So let's get started. I've chosen to play as Egypt. I love playing as Egypt. I love that whole Ptolemaic culture and all that. It's a good mixture of groups. It's got elephants. It's got good pike walls. I love factions with pike walls, pike phalanxes, and the like. It's got some decent cavalry and some pretty good Galatian swordsmen and the like. My opponent will be busting up King Tut. He will be playing as Macedon. And I don't know, it's just me, but these Hellenic factions, it seems like a lot of them are very similar. Seems like if you play one Hellenic faction, you played them all. Not necessarily. Macedon doesn't have elephants, things like that, and Eastern units, but it just feels very similar with a lot of pikemen, a lot of phalanxes, a lot of hoplites, a lot of pikemen. They just feel very similar to me. And I like Macedon, really like Macedon, but I just like Egypt in this game better, and Alexander's long dead. And here we are on the battlefield. It's a relatively flat lands, not too many trees around. Shouldn't be too many surprises. Should be a straight one-on-one brawl. Gonna set up my army here. Now what I usually like to do with the Hellenic faction setups, I like to put a relatively long but thick pike phalanx up the front. Sometimes I'll have the missile units in front of the pike phalanx, sometimes I'll have the missile units behind them. But I usually put my sword units behind the pike phalanxes as sort of reserve units. I keep my spear units on the flanks to defend against flanking maneuvers from both cavalry and infantry, and just keep them there for whenever I need them. I keep my cavalry on the flanks. Sometimes I keep them together, sometimes I spread them apart. I use my cavalry a lot to disorganize the enemy's mind. Keep his eye on my cavalry, and their eyes are on something else I want them to be on. I usually keep a tight formation army. I like to keep my units close by. I like to keep them close to other units so that I can use them when I need to use them, so they can plug up gaps, so they can help other units nearby. I see a lot of other players, they like to stretch out their armies. They like to have big, long, stretched out forces so that you can't flank them. And from the battles I've done, I don't think that's the best idea. And I'll show you why in a future video, but right now let's check out this. We're both moving up our armies to meet in the center of the battlefield. He's moving up his cav on his right, I'm moving up my cav on my left.
Quickly now!
And we get a shot of my mighty cavalry marching forward into mighty battle, dying where I tell them to die. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty even cavalry fight here. They got Citizen Cav and Companion Cav. Well, I got Citizen Cav and Ptolemaic Cav. In a lot of battles, it would be who wins the Cav fight wins the battle. It's not necessarily the way it is all the time, but here's the first mistake I made. I should have backed up my cavalry with an infantry unit from the start. Only now am I just starting to put an infantry unit to back them up. It should have already been there to help make sure I won that battle. And here's my second big mistake. What I usually do is fight the missile fight first, then you fight the melee fight. That's how you win in a lot of my matches at least. That's how I've been able to win. You fight the missile fight first, then you fight the melee fight. What I did is I took my missile units and I started shooting them at their infantry. Now, that's just wasted time and ammo. You should take these units and concentrate fire on their missile units. Take out their missile units, and then you can do whatever you want with your missile units. Then you start concentrating fire on other infantry units. But when their missile units are out of the game, it forces them to react. That's the first rule in war. The first rule in online war, at least. You make the enemy react. Don't let them make you react. Here I am on the flank battle. We're finally starting to win that battle. His cavalry is almost completely destroyed. He's got one unit left, and looks like he took out one of my cavalry units. So that's... Okay, I'm only just now starting to use my archers to knock out his missile units, but he's been using his missile units on my guys, so I've already lost missile soldiers. And I'm going to continue to lose missile soldiers. I'm moving up my infantry, but he's got a long, thick line of phalangite units. And that can be... His build can be a good build, but it can also be a bad build because he's got a big, long, soft back for my flanking forces to come and just smash. Phalanxes are not the most maneuverable unit in the game. In fact, it's the least maneuverable unit in the game. But I'm starting to move some of my flanking forces to the sides. He's starting to move up his some of his phalangite units, but he's not moving them all up. He's going to try to stretch out all his forces now to try to keep me from flanking him. I've lost a lot of cavalry, and I've almost lost all my missile units, but he's still got plenty of missile units left, which can just pepper my units. I move up my general at this point, which I wasn't thinking right, because then he starts focusing his units on my general, and then I start losing some general units. I wasn't really paying the greatest amount of attention in this match, which is not good, because one thing I did when I put my flanking units on the sides, I charged his flanking phalanxes without realizing that they were pike phalanxes, and I just ran my men right into long pikes, and it just killed them. And I had very few flanking units to go around to smash into the backs of this massive line he's given me. And I can't get what few units I have back there quick enough before he starts routing some of my men that I sent at his front. I send my cavalry out there to try to hit him from behind, but then he sends in his big, powerful general unit to stop me and stop my advance. And his general unit's a pretty good unit. But I think at the moment I outnumbered him, and so I pulled that melee unit off him, and I just wanted to try to flank that phalanx unit to knock him out. And at this point I put in my general unit and started hitting him from the front, which was not a good idea. Again, another mistake. And he still has a lot of missile units, which can just pepper my general unit and pepper whatever else other units it wants. Well, I have no more missile units. And at this point he's pretty much knocked out my cavalry. He's knocked out a few of my infantry units. I've knocked out a few of his infantry units, but he's starting to flank what units I have left, and he's starting to knock them out one at a time. And at this point he's really starting to roll my army up. This was a good opponent, busting up King Tut. He took advantage of my mistakes, and he deployed his phalanx well in a very defensive maneuvering, and let's get a nice tight shot of my men slaughtering and getting slaughtered. And he took advantage of a lot of mistakes I made, a lot of miscalculations, and a lot of not paying that much attention to the units, which is a big no-no in online battles, and an even bigger no-no if you're doing competitive battles. And the last of my Galatian Royal Guard has been knocked out. And that's the end of that. Well, I want to thank anybody who checked out my video. Leave a comment or like below if you liked what you saw, and I'd advise you to subscribe and stick around because I got a lot of fun stuff planned for this channel. Got a lot more of these kind of videos coming. Also plan on doing some Let's Plays for Medieval 2 stainless steel mods and Roma Surrectum mods. And I just want to thank you again for sticking around. I am your graphics rogue. Until next time, peace out.